Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's Charlie Fibrosis. So this is going to be a bit of a new segment that I did want to talk about and do. Unfortunately, I really haven't kept up with a lot of racing this year, so my mind has not been on the greatest in terms of, hey, this is the up-to-date stuff. So yeah. So here's a bit of information. So apparently today, announced from Stewart Haas Racing, Smithfield is going to be leaving Richard Petty Motorsports and is going to Stewart Haas. In addition, Danica Patrick is going to be out of the 10 car come next season. So let's go ahead and go over a couple of things. Let's go over the first topic of Smithfield leaving Richard Petty Motorsports to go to Stewart Haas. This is an interesting shakeup. So before I go really deep into this, let me just say outright that this has been the silly season that I've ever seen. We found out about Dale Earnhardt Jr. retiring in, I think it was like April of this year. We have heard major change-ups. We've heard that the 20 of Matt Kenseth is going to be vacated, and Eric Jones is going to be in the 20 next season. We hear that Al Mirola is going to be leaving possibly the 43 and go to the 10. Danica's out of the 10 next season. There's been a big shakeup in that the 24 next season is going to be piloted by William Byron, and what was going to be the 5 is going to be changed into the 9, which is going to be driven by Chase Elliott. We knew that Alex Bowman is going into the 88. We kind of knew that Casey Kane was kind of on his last end, and he would possibly be going elsewhere. We have no idea where he's going. We had a case of Eric Almirola getting injured earlier in the season. Bubba Wallace took over. He drove the 43 to some decent results, but he does not have a ride. Bubba Wallace ended up also losing his Busch Series ride, or his Xfinity ride, in the 6 for Roush Racing. And while he's done a couple of races here and there in the trucks and so, he does not have, at the moment at least, a full-time ride. There was rumors of Kurt Busch possibly leaving Stewart Haas Racing. There's a lot of rookies who are possibly going to be coming into newer teams and so, and not necessarily newer teams, but existing rides that are going to be vacated by veterans. We know kind of how this season has gone in terms of the championship. We knew that, and we've seen all year long, that Martin Truex has just done amazing. He was crowned the regular season champion. He unfortunately got wrecked out at Richmond, but he still won the regular season championship, and I have high hopes that Truex will be our 2017 champion based off of how strong he has done this season. Based on consistency alone, I gotta say that the number 87 should be our champion this season. So, okay, let's get into it. So the 10 of Patrick is being vacated. That's probably going to be the biggest story right now. Alright, let me be honest with you. This should have happened way sooner. I'm going to go ahead and jump on to, because I want to have accurate information. Alright, I'm pulling up right now Danica Patrick's career stats from racingreference.info. So she started her Cup career in 2012 at age 30. It's 2017, she's 35. She's done 26 out, it says 26 to 27, so this counts all the way up to Richmond. So let's go over her career statistics real quick. In 6 years, with 5 full-time years, this year will be a final year, or will be a full year, so there's nothing stopping her. She has no wins. She has no form of top 5s. She has 7 top 10s, with the most being in 2014. She has only gotten 1 pole. She has ran 50,575 laps. She has only led 64 laps. She has earned $12,398,049. Her best ranking in terms of points was a 24th in 2015 and 2016. She is currently tied at her worst finish in the points at this current moment in 28th, tied back in 2014, and she is currently 28th in points. Her average start in the last 6 years is a 25.3. Her average finish is a solid 24th. Running at the finish, she has only run at the finish for 155 races. She has only been on the lead lap finishes 71 times. There are no did not qualifies, and there are no withdrawal events. But I want to look into this as well. So I'm going to look specifically into a 2017 season. And oh, that was not exactly how I wanted things to go. There we go. I think this is it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull this up because I do want to show you guys real quick. Let me... You know what? That really doesn't bother me a lot. And everything else is good. So let's go ahead and just show you real quick. So this is Danica Patrick's stats this season. She crashed out in the Daytona 500 and she finished 33rd. At Atlanta, she had a good run. She finished 17th. Vegas, she had an engine expire. Engine expirations are something that I really can't blame a driver on. Because those can happen out of the blue. Phoenix, 22nd. Fontana, 26th. Martinsville, 23rd. 24th at Texas. 36th at Bristol from a crash. 18th, good run at Richmond. That's reasonably good. 38th at Talladega, she crashed out. 36th at Kansas, she crashed out. That one I can't blame her on because that was actually a really, really awful crash. 25th at Charlotte. 10th at Dover, good run by her there. Pocono, 16th, not great. Michigan, 37th, crashed out. Sonoma, 17th, okay, reasonable. Crashed out at Daytona for the July event. Finished 25th. Kentucky finished 15th. Loudon finished 13th. Indianapolis finished 11th. Pocono finished 15th. Watkins Glen 22nd. Michigan 22nd. Bristol 25th. Darlington 26th. And most recently, Richmond with a 23rd. These are not the statistics that a Stewart-Haas car should be running at. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick a different driver. I'm going to pick Kurt Busch because I did actually make a Facebook post on this back when it was rumored that Kurt Busch could potentially have been released from the Stewart-Haas car. Daytona won the race, 7th at Atlanta, 30th at Vegas. I think he had some type of issue. 25th at Phoenix, 24th at Fontana, 37th at Martinsville due to a crash. 10th at Texas, 25th at Bristol, 8th at Richmond, 6th at Talladega, 19th at Kansas, 6th at Charlotte, 37th at Dover, 4th at Pocono, 12th at Michigan, 7th at Sonoma, Daytona 28th, Kentucky 30th, had an engine let go. Loudon 8th, crashed out at Indianapolis near the end of the race, near the end of the race, 29th, Pocono 13th, Watkins Glen 6th, Michigan 11th, Bristol 5th, Darlington 3rd, Richmond 4th. Do you even hear how good these results are by comparison? They're not perfect. He has had some bad races, but he's been more consistent overall. And here's the other thing. Kurt Busch is in the championship standings. He's 12th right now. He made it into the chase. Danica didn't. Danica did not qualify to make it into the chase. Kurt Busch barely, well, actually, no, not barely. He did reasonably well. And he stayed strong enough that he could contend, but he made it into the chase. Let's go to another Stewart-Haas driver real quick. Someone that I think has actually done better. That was a complete butchering of his spelling. No. Kevin Harvick. Let's take a look at him. Kevin Harvick's season. This has been Harvick's season for 26 races. 4th at Daytona. 22nd at Daytona, 9th at Atlanta, 38th at Vegas, 6th at Phoenix, 13th at California, 20th at Martinsville, 4th at Texas, 3rd at Bristol, 5th at Richmond, 23rd at Talladega, 3rd at Kansas, 8th at Charlotte, 9th at Dover, 2nd at Pocono, 14th at Michigan, Sonoma he won, 33rd at Daytona, Kentucky 9th, 5th Loudon, 6th Indy, 2nd Pocono again, 17th at Watkins Glen, 13th at Michigan, Bristol 8th, Darlington 9th, 15th at Richmond. And when we go back to the previous page, he is 6th in points. Now, like I said, these are not perfect stats. And as I kind of think about it, I don't think anyone's actually had as perfect of a season as Martin Truex Jr. And Truex has not had he's had a much stronger year, but he has not gone out and won every single race. I'll actually go ahead and compare it. Martin Truex Jr., let's look at his career for this season alone. And we'll pull that up right now. So, here's been Truex statistics for this year. And let me know, this is all not counting all of his runs where he has won stages. This is going for all races. So, 13th at Daytona, decent. Atlanta, 8th. 1 at Las Vegas. 11th at Phoenix. 4th at Fontana. 16th at Martinsville. 8th at Fort Worth, Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. 8th at Bristol. 10th at Richmond. 35th at Talladega. 1 at Kansas. 3rd at Charlotte. 3rd at Dover. 6th at Pocono. 6th at Michigan. 37th, bad race for him at Sonoma. 34th at Daytona, bad race for him. He won Kentucky. He finished 3rd at Loudon. He finished 33rd, disappointingly, at Indianapolis. He finished 3rd at Pocono. He won Watkins Glen. He finished 2nd at Michigan. 21st at Bristol, not great, but 8th at Darlington and 20th at Richmond. And he is the points leader. He is the points leader going into it. And these are his statistics as well. He has led 1,646 laps. He has ran 7,208 laps. He has a pole. He has 17 top 10s, 10 top 5s, 4 wins. He's ranked first in points, as I mentioned. His average start is 6.9. That is solid. 11.4 is his average finish. He has ran at the finish 21 out of the 26 races. He has been on the lead lap 20 of those races. He has not had disqualification. Yeah, and the only time he did so it was back in 2004. And he has not had any withdrawals. He has also, they don't have his earnings down, but he has also made a lot of money over his career. Truex is golden this season. And I want to be fair. I'm going to go back and look here at Harvick. Harvick, 1 win, 8 top 5, 16 top 10s, 4 poles, 7,143 laps, 567 lead laps. He's 6th in points, 9.2 average start, 11.4 average finish, 24 races running at the finish, 22 of those races on the lead lap. Let's go back a little bit further. Let's look at Kurt Busch. For his season, he's had 1 win, 5 top 5s, 13 top 10s, no poles unfortunately. He's run 6,837 laps. He has led 13 laps. That is very tiny, but okay. 12.5 as the average start, 15.2. He's had a bit of a slump, but he's done well. He has been running at the finish 21 out of 26 races. He has been on the lead lap 18 of those races. You see what I'm saying here, guys? Danica Patrick has not been able to put up the success that she should be this season. And she has not put up the success for any season that she should be accomplishing. Her teammates, every single one of her teammates, have managed to outrace, outqualify, outdrive, outperform her every single season. She has never been the front runner of the organization. It is time for her to go. It's time for her to leave NASCAR and go find something else. Or go, if you're going to run NASCAR, run in a different area of NASCAR. Don't run a full season. You're not doing yourself any favors. And listen to me. I'm not saying this as someone who is sexist or anything else like that. I honestly thought it would have been cool. Really, really cool to see Danica Patrick do incredibly well in NASCAR. Maybe not win a championship, but get a few wins. She has not lived up to the hype, success, and potential that she has been given. Now, before anyone goes off on me, well, what about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Dale Earnhardt Jr. is a cash cow. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is trash. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is only in because of his name. All right, you want to play that game? Okay, we'll play this game. You really want to be that way? Fine, let's do this. I'm going to look at Dale Earnhardt Jr. statistics. All right, let's go into this. And I'm going to be fair. I'm going to be very, very fair with Danica versus Junior. They're both very, very, big name drivers. Let's go into this then. So here we go. I've got highlighted the 2012 through 2017 season. All right, so 2012. He got one win. That was disappointing. He got 10 top 10s. That's pretty good. 20 top 10s. 10 top 5s, 20 top 10s. Those are respectable numbers. He got a pole. He led 9,817 laps. No, he ran 9,817 laps, and he led 358 laps. Not going to talk about the earnings because it doesn't matter. He finished 12th on the points. His average start was 15.4. His average finish was 10.9. He was running at the finish 34 out of the 36 races. He was running on the lead lap 29 of those 36 races. Let's go on to 2013. He's age 38. He ran... Yeah, and Junior also missed out on 2 events in 2012. 2013, ran all events. No wins, but he got 10 top 5s. He got 22 top 10s. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that. 2 poles. He ran 10,256 laps. He led less laps the next season with 342 laps led. He ranked 5th. That's pretty good. 13.9 is the average start, so better from the previous year. Worse than the average finish with a 12.6, but that's not bad. He was running at the finish 1 less race, so 33 races, and 28 races. He was on the lead lap at the end of the race. 2014, his breakout year with Hendrick Motorsports. He won 4 races. He had 12 top 5s. He had 20 top 10s. He had no poles, which kind of sucks a little bit. He ran 1 lap extra over his 2012 year with 9,818 laps. He did much better in leading laps, though. He led 383 laps. He ranked worse, to be fair, but that was the first year that they did the whole, let's go ahead and do the playoffs thing and do it that way. His average start was worse, and minus this year, it is the 3rd worst average start, but his finish was better in 2014 over it was in 2013. He finished 12.2. Running at the finish, he did 34 races out of 36. That's good. Lead lap on the finish, 29 laps. And let me just state this as well. Because they did the whole change up in the point system that year in 2014, I think if it was under an older format, like the previous season, I think Junior would have ranked higher in the championship because he won Martinsville the week after he got bumped out. So, that's actually pretty good. So let's continue on. Let's go on to 2015. Age 40, 36 out of 36, no issues. He won 3 races, one less than 2014, but he still did good. He had 16 top 10s. That's the most he's ever had in Hendrick Motorsports equipment. He's had 22 top 10s. He was not on the pole at all. He ran more laps than 2014, but he ran less laps compared to 2013 with 10,208 laps. He led 287 laps, much less by comparison to his 3 previous years, but that's fine. Finished 12th in the championship. Not great, but once again, remember, we're in a modern era where they have the playoffs. I think it's kind of bold, but whatever. 13.8, so he did better in his average start compared to his most winning season at Hendrick. In the previous season of 2014, he finished 3 spots better. His average finish was a whole spot better as well, so good on him. He ran one more race at the finish. He only DNF'd apparently one event, which is actually really good, and lead lap on the finish, he was 28. So he actually did better compared to his 2014 year. The only thing he fell behind in was, he led less laps, he ran more laps, which is good, his top 10s increased, which is good, his top 5s increased, and he only lost one race. He was one race lower in the winning category compared to it. Now let's go into 2016. 2016, he only ran 18 out of 36 races, so this is not a complete season. Let that be noted. He had no wins, he had 5 top 5s, 6 top 10s, no poles. He only ran 4,861 laps, he led 53 laps, ranked 32nd, but that was because he was injured, 16.3 on the ranking of average start, average finish of 15.6, running at the finish 14 races, lead lap finish 14 of those races, so he did do poorly in 4 events. Current year in 2017, this is his final year, ran 26 to 27 races, no wins, 1 top 5, 4 top 10s, 1 pole, better laps, but he's been running more races this season, so 6,615 laps. He has only led, unfortunately, 37 laps. He is ranked 22nd in points. He did not make it into the chase. 17.4 is his average start. 21.3 is his average finish. 19 races at the finish still running, and 14 of those races on the lead lap. So, listen, right here, right now. Junior has had a better season and a better run in the last 6 years than Danica Patrick has. Now, he's had his fair share of problems, but he still won races. He still won events. He still did better. And consider this as well. At one point, Stewart-Haas Racing was getting like the B-level equipment that Hendrick Motorsports was getting. And Kevin Harvick managed to win a championship in that stuff. Guys, without a doubt, this is finally time. It's finally time for Patrick to move on. She tried so hard to make it in NASCAR. She did not succeed. She did not succeed, and her teammates beat her out week in, week out, in a much more consistent pace, in much more consistent cars to go forward and do what they did. Patrick did not meet up to her expectations in NASCAR. I am glad she is leaving, because I really, really have felt for the longest time when she hasn't wrecked the car either through her own actions or through an accidental event. So she truly, in my honest opinion, has not met the expectations, and she has not understood how to drive a race car. Not in NASCAR, at least. I admit, and I give her praise, she tried. She tried very, very hard. I'm sorry, though, she did not meet the expectations that she was expected of. By fans, by the drivers, by the team. She did not meet these things, but because she could bring in sponsorship, she stayed. And I'm glad she's finally moving away from NASCAR. Where do I think she's going to go? There is rumors that there's a possibility she could be doing road course racing ahead, possibly being a road course warrior or a road course ringer ahead, taking up a car for a third party team, so to speak, and do that, or something else. But if she does get another competitive ride, it's going to be amazing. I don't see her running back into NASCAR with the money and funding and equipment that she had a chance in for 6 years at Stewart-Haas. No, never again. All right. So, let's get into a couple of other topics. With the news that Smithfield is moving to Stewart-Haas. So here's where I think the driver shakeup is going to be. So, with Danica out of the 10, they're going to put Eric Almirola in the 43. Not the 43. Eric Almirola in the 43 is going to the 10 with Smithfield. From what it sounds like, Smithfield and Almirola actually have a very close relationship with one another as driver to sponsor and not necessarily team to sponsor. So that's going to be interesting. As to who I think they're going to replace in the 43, Bubba Wallace. Bubba Wallace has absolutely proven that he has got a lot of power behind him, and I think he could do really, really good in Petty's equipment. Do I see him winning races? No, but I see him being potentially a top 15, top 10 car. So that does unfortunately leave a massive void in sponsorship, because Smithfield, I think, has sponsored Richard Petty Motorsports more than STP has. But who knows? Definitely someone could come on with Bubba Wallace, and they may have a good amount of interest in him, and they could get some good sponsorship in the 43. Now, as to ahead, I don't see Richard Petty Motorsports expanding to a 2-car operation or a 3-car operation. We do know that the team has grown and shrunk many times over its brief years. They were one point a 3-car team with the 9, the 43, and the 44. They shrank down to a 2-car team with the 9 and the 43. The 9 later on got renumbered to the 44 with Brian Scott. The 43 raced. So all that happened. Now it's currently with Brian Scott on from the 44. It now is the 43 alone. Almirola is the only driver for that car. Almirola's maybe leaving at the end of the season. Richard Petty Motorsports, I think, is still going to be a 1-car operation in 2018. So there's that. Let's talk about a couple of other things as I'm thinking about it. And yeah, real quick, going back to it. So yeah, Almirola, I think, is going to the 10. Bubba Wallace is going to the 43. That's going to be the way it is. To talk a little bit more, we found out that Ryan Blaney is going to be racing the 12 next season for Penske Racing, and that the 21 is going to be vacated and is going to be replaced by Paul Menard. Somehow in that sponsorship deal, Menard is going to be sponsoring the 12 for a few races and the 21 at certain points. That is very funky. Gotta be honest with you, I actually really like Ryan Blaney in the 21, and I wish he wasn't going to the 12 just yet. I really would like to see what the Wood Brothers and Blaney could do for one more season in 2018 and have them switch over to the 12 in 2019, but that's not the way that's going to work. As to how I feel that the Wood Brothers are going to do with Paul Menard, they're not going to do well. They're going to fall back into mediocrity to okayness. They're not really going to be able to win races. They're not going to be able to get the support and sponsorship and just aid that I think that they got with Penske, with Blaney being a contracted driver under Penske, which then in turn led to the Wood Brothers Racing team getting support from Penske, their engines, their bodies, their chassis equipment, everything else like that. So yeah, I don't see the Wood Brothers having a great 2018 season with Paul Menard. Paul Menard was lucky they managed to win Indianapolis, but Paul Menard has always been kind of mediocre in my opinion. So Menard and the Wood Brothers is not going to be a great deal, and unfortunately I think Wood Brothers, unless they can get another good talent or something like that, I don't know how much longer they could really stay. I know that I think they still do stuff in their Stewart, Virginia home, but I don't know if that means ahead that they're actually going to be all that successful, or if they're just going to lose all support from the other Ford teams, because that's definitely going to hurt them. Let it be noted as well, when the Wood Brothers won the Daytona 500 in 2011 with Trevor Bayne, they actually got support from Richard Petty Motorsports, and Richard Petty was technically classified as, I think, the car owner in that event. And so, yeah, that's all it is. Alright, so let's talk into some other teams. Let's talk into the news of Eric Jones replacing Matt Kenseth. This is disappointing. I feel kind of bad because Matt Kenseth, I think a couple years ago, really had a lot of fire to him, and I think he could definitely have won the championship. But man, this season has just not been his year. I know he's done a little bit better in certain races, and he just barely made it into the chase. That was a whole bunch of crap concerning the whole ambulance situation at Richmond. That's bull. So much bull there. So with that being stated, like, I feel bad. I feel really, really bad that Kenseth is getting moved away from the 20. And I think putting Eric Jones is kind of a good idea and a bad idea. Good idea in that he's shown a lot of talent. Bad idea in terms of I don't know if he's ready. So there's that. I really, really hope that if the 77 team does not fold at the end of the season, Matt Kenseth goes to the 77, and you got Truex, who was kind of like a good young driver, kind of got his peak into his mid-30s. Maybe Kenseth can get that same resurgence, because damn, I cannot believe how well Martin Truex Jr. has done in like the last 2 years. It's freaking incredible. So there's that. Let's talk a little bit about the whole switch up at Hendrick Motorsports. So Jimmy Johnson's going to be the only remaining regular Hendrick Motorsports driver from, at least in my generation, when I started watching NASCAR in like the mid, like 1999 to 2003 was like my early years. Johnson was already racing then. So Johnson's going to be the oldest NASCAR driver in the Hendrick Motorsports group, currently still racing. Johnson, I can see probably succeeding even more ahead into the future. As much as I hate to say this, I fear he can become a 8-time champion or a 9-time champion. I know he can be able to get some more races won. I don't know if he really has the power to win a Daytona 500 again, but, you know, who knows. I made the comparison a while back to Jimmy Johnson is the Tom Brady of NASCAR. Johnson's got such a strong team behind him, such a strong car behind him, and he's never really gotten injured, so he's really healthy even in his older age. So Jimmy Johnson, I could definitely see, as much as I hate to say it, he could definitely be an 8, 9-time champion. Hell, he could be a 10-time champion if he really keeps it up. Oh, I hate saying that so much. That bothers me so much. Oh, God. I'll explain my reasoning for the dislike of Jimmy Johnson here in a little bit. Chase Elliott to the 9. I don't know if it's really going to help him much. I feel that Chase kind of got a little bit overhyped, unfortunately. I would like to see him win some races because he really does have some talent. He did great in the Busch Series. I think, unfortunately, he just got moved up to Cup a little bit too quickly. I am kind of interested in the fact that he's going to be driving the 9, which was, as we all know, Bill Elliott's number from a majority of his career. Not the entirety of it, but a vast majority of his career, he drove the number 9. William Byron to the 24. This is something I do not support. William Byron does have talent, and I think he's done better and better with each race that he does in the Busch Series and the trucks, but he is not ready for Cup. He is not ready for Cup whatsoever. To make a comparison real quickly to kind of like a lot of the new drivers that are coming into the sport, let's look at Joey Logano, for example. I will even look up at his statistics as well. So let me just mute that tab real quick. And let me type in Joey Logano. And Joey Logano. and we'll look at his entire career. Let's go to gaming PC. There we go. So here's his Cup career. All right. I'm going to go ahead and discount 2008 because that was not a full year run. So let's start with 2009. 2009, at age 19, he ran all races. He got 1 win, 3 top 5, 7 top 10s, no poles, 9,997 laps, 36 laps led, rank of 20th in points, 20.5 start, 20th in the average finish, 33 races running at the finish, 22 on the lead lap. Let's go on to the next season, age 20 in 2010. 0 wins, 7 top 5s, so he did better. 16 top 10s, way better. Got a pole. Ran a lot more laps, led a lot more laps. Ranked 16th, did higher, ran higher. 16.2, 16.8, much better. 32 races at the running at the finish. 1 race less, but he was on the lead lap for 1 more race. I want to actually double check something real quick. Let me see here, because I need to make sure that I've actually got the perfect year for when he switched over to the 22. Joey Logano. Let's see here. Let's just go into Wikipedia. Let's see here. He switched over to Team Penske in 2013. Good to know. Good to know. All right, let's go back to it and get into it. So 2013 is going to be his magic year. 2010. No, we already did that year. 2011. 21 years of age, legally allowed to drink. No wins. 4 top 5s, 6 top 10s. A weaker season. He got 2 poles. Better. Ran less laps. That's poor. Led a few more laps. That's good. Rank of 24th. Worse. Average start, worse. 19.1 on the average finish, worse by comparison. Ran the exact same amount of running at finish races to his 2009 year, and he did worse in lead lap finishes. 2012, age 22, 1 win, good. 2 top 5s, poor. 12 top 10s, better. 2 poles, equal. Ran less laps than that season at 10,224. Led 190, better. Rank 17th, better. Average start, better. Average finish, better. 33 races running at the finish, same. Lead lap finishes, worse at 18. Then we get to 2013, and then we'll go from there. 2013, age 23, 1 win, 11 top 10. 5s, much better. Top 10s, 19, much better. 2 poles, better. Surprisingly, less laps. He led a lot more laps, though, at 323. He finished 8th in points, much better. Average start, tiny bit worse, but still good. Average finish, better. Lead lap races, running at the finish, same. Lead lap finishes, better. 2014, 36 races. Won 5 races. That's the highest he ever accomplished in his career. So 1 year after he joins Penske, he gets 5 wins. 16 top 10s. 16 top 5s. 22 top 10s. That's amazing. 1 pole. Okay. Better in terms of the laps run. Way better in laps led, 993. He ranked 4th in points. He finished average start at 9.8, average finish of 11.3. He did 1 race less in races at running at the finish, but he did much better in running at the finish on the lead lap. 2015, 6 wins, most he's ever had in his career thus far in 1 season. Did even more phenomenal. 22 top 5s, 28 top 10s, 6 poles. He ran less laps by comparison at 10,256 laps, led 1,431 laps, his most he's ever led. He ranked a tiny bit worse in 6th, but not bad. His average start was much better. His average finish was the highest it's ever been in his career. He was running at the finish for every single race, and he only was off the lead lap for 4 events. That's amazing. Let's go on to 2016. 36 races, ran all of them. 3 wins, a little bit less, but good. 16 top 5s, 26 top 10s, 3 poles, 10,160 laps, led 703 laps. He ranked second, best points he's ever done. 18.1 on the average start, really good. 10.5 on the average finish, really good. Running at the finish, 33 races. 29 races, he finished on the lead lap. And then we go into this current season, and he's not going to make the chase. Well, he has not made the chase. But the season isn't over. He's got 1 win, 9 top 5s, 12 top 10s, 1 pole. Ran 7,173 laps, 257 laps led, 19th in points, and he's probably going to be only able to get up to like 16th, I think. So there's not much room for him to grow that this year. 10.4 on the average start, 15.9 on the average finish, 22nd race, 22 races at the finish, running at the finish, and 16 on the lead lap. And here's the big thing. The reason why he's not in the chase is because his car failed post-race inspection in Richmond in the spring, and he had points and his win points removed. So that's the big thing. But here's the thing. The point that I'm trying to make on all of this is Joey Logano did not hit his big stride until he switched over to Penske. And he was with Gibbs. Gibbs was actually doing really well for the most part. So what worries me ahead is that a lot of these young drivers like William Byron, I guess you could even say Chase Elliott to a certain extent, and a lot of other guys who are taking over these veterans' rides over this next couple of seasons, they're getting the big keys to big cars with big teams. And they're not going to be able to perform. They're not going to be able to perform to what they are expected to be. And that's terrible. That's really, really terrible, because the problem is, especially around the time that we hit the economic downturn, I would see drivers like Todd Cleaver, for example, or Blake Feast, or Boston Reed, or, although I know that he still races, Matt DiBenedetto, I know he's in Cup. I know that Matt Tifft is in, maybe not Cup, not in full-time at least, but runs Busch. They were racing with Gibbs at one point, and they were given essentially the B car to Kyle Busch in the Busch Series. And I saw so many drivers, and I don't know if it's their own fault or what it is. I don't know whether it was lack of sponsorship, lack of just being acclimated to the car and the team just not being good. I don't know. I don't have the answers to these things because I don't know these drivers personally, and I don't know all the behind-the-scenes stuff. But unfortunately, it feels to me that, and what scares me a lot, is a lot of these young guys, they legitimately have talent. It's not that easy to go straight into NASCAR and, get a ride and everything like that. I think it's a little bit easier nowadays because sponsorship is such a big craze. You kind of need to go into the racing with a sponsor already set up, but there are legitimately talented racers that unfortunately they could possibly burn out before they even have a chance to show what they've got. And in the case of Joey Logano, he's lucky as hell that he managed to be able to get a ride with Penske of all teams, and managed to do so well. That's a success story. That's the luck story. He somehow managed to impress Roger Penske enough that he got a great ride. And, you kind of even look at slightly Brad Keselowski. Keselowski was racing with James Finch, managed to bring it home to a win, which was amazing. Ran a few races with Hendrick Motorsports. I think Keselowski was slated to replace, Mark Martin or Casey Mears or someone in the 5. And that deal fell through, and he got to go with Penske, and he wins the championship, I think, in 2011 or 2012. And in Dodge equipment as well. This is before the whole switch to Ford. The point that I'm making here is, for someone like Joey Logano, he got super lucky, and he showed he had enough talent and enough skill to go from a really good ride to a really good ride, and has managed to succeed in this second chance at a really good ride. Not all drivers get that chance, and it really, really worries me, because I don't want to see a guy like Chase Elliott or a young gun like William Byron only get like 2 years to prove themselves, and when they can't succeed at that, when they can't win races, when they are not in a chance to win a championship, when there is so much stacked against them, they end up in the end getting booted from their rides, and no one will pick them up. It is not easy to become a NASCAR driver. The amount of levels that it takes to get into NASCAR, all the different series that you have to run in. You know, you start out in go-karts, you probably work your way up to like some minor dirt racing, depending on which way a driver goes. You go into pavement, like late model or hobby stocks or something like that. You go into there, you race that. If you're lucky enough, you get a truck series ride. If you do well in the trucks, you may get a Busch series ride. You do well in the Busch series, you get a cup ride. If you can prove yourself in the cup, you can stay for a very long time. That's a lot of years to put in. And a lot of these guys are like right around my age. I'm 22. And a good chunk of these guys are even younger than I am, at like 18, 19, 20 years old. And then some who are like newer into the sport, they're like a little bit older than I am, or around the same age as I am. And they're at jeopardy of maybe not having a good big time ride in the future. This may only be a temporary thing. So with William Byron especially, I'm very, very worried with him going into the 24 next season. First of all, because it's the 24. Jeff Gordon drove the thing, won 93 races, won 5 Daytona 500, 3 or 5 Daytona 500s, won 4 championships, and just managed to set so many records in the 24 car. That is a massive legacy. That is a massive, massive legacy for any driver to follow up on. And I just don't know that Chase Elliott hasn't done really much with the 24. He's done well at certain racetracks, but he's never pulled into victory lane. And I am so fearful for William Byron, because he may not be able to do so either. This may be a losing situation for both guys in Elliott and Byron, and I don't want them to fail. I think that they're talented young men. I just don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off. So I guess the last driver that I can talk about, at least in the Hendrick Motorsports lineup, is Alex Bowman. Got to be honest, with how Bowman ran at Phoenix last year and almost won the thing, qualified on the pole, did really, really well. I think this really comes down to the team, honestly. I think they're going to have a good driver. I just don't know if the team and the driver can come together and give him the equipment it needs to succeed. Because I don't know about you guys, but to me at least, I think Junior could have had a good 2016 year if he had not been injured. And this year, I don't know whether it's the driver, the team, or the crew, but nothing is clicking on the 88 team. Nothing at all. Nothing is working right for that team. So if they can get their crap together and give Bowman a good ride next season, although I don't know if he's going to win a race, or if he is going to come close to winning a race, it's probably going to be Phoenix or maybe Michigan. But Bowman has a shot. Everything just needs to line up perfect, though. They cannot screw up in one area, because then he's just going to have a lackluster year. And it's going to require a lot of luck by other teams having bad races for him to do well, if that's going to be the case. If there is one thing that's going to fail on that crew, or on that team, it's going to be their kryptonite for the year. So they either need to retool the team, they either need to retool the car, or they need to help the driver, because with what we've seen of Junior this season, he has not performed. He has not performed at all, and it breaks my heart so much to see him do so terrible in his final year. So I really want Junior to win. I've got my fingers crossed that he could do well at Martinsville for the fall race, and I really, really hope he wins Talladega. He didn't win Daytona. He didn't win Talladega in the spring. He didn't win Daytona in the July event. God, please give Junior a win at Dega. Just give him one win, just to make this season a little bit less miserable. So, anyway, I think that's where I'm gonna wrap it up. I've talked about a lot of things. I just know that there's going to be a lot more changes to the teams and to the driver lineups and everything else like that, as to who I think is going to win races and championships and all that stuff. I don't really know. The final thing I am going to talk about real quick is this. So, weeks ago, there was an altercation between Kyle Busch's pit crew and Martin Truex Jr.'s pit crew. Well, because there's a technical alliance between Truex and Joe Gibbs, Gibbs went ahead and suspended 2 of the crew members on Truex's team and did nothing to the 18 team. Now, since then, I think the 78 crew has broken off from the Joe Gibbs affiliation. Still getting their cars and equipment, but the team is independent from Joe Gibbs. What Joe Gibbs did was bull. So much bull. Because the thing is, yeah, this was Indianapolis, now that I think about it. It was a racing incident. It was an absolute racing incident. Martin Truex didn't mean to hit Kyle Busch. It was just a pure racing accident, and there was no hard feelings, to my knowledge, between Busch and Truex, and vice versa, from Truex to Busch. What Adam Stevens, who's the crew chief on the 18, did was stupid. And in the defense of the 78 team, they just wanted Adam Stevens out. They wanted him out of their pit box. They did not want to put up with his anger and pissiness. So, in my opinion, honestly, with Gibbs suspending 2 of the crew members for I think it was a 2-week suspension or a 3-week suspension, that was cowardly. That was just to save the 18's face, because the 18 really is the only super competitive Joe Gibbs car out there that's a direct Joe Gibbs car. And the 78 has been whooping everyone's butts this year. So I guess Coach Gibbs wanted the 18 to do better, and considering that he does not technically own the 78, it was you know what, let's cripple them a little bit and let's see if we can get the 18 some wins and such. So, yeah, that was ass. That was stupid. And then the final note, and ironically enough, it involves Gibbs as well. At Richmond, during a caution flag period, an ambulance merged out onto the pit road. Matt Kenseth collides into the back of it, ending his night, and he just barely made it into the points. NASCAR, what are you doing? NASCAR, you're making so many stupid decisions nowadays, and this is why I think fans are leaving, unfortunately. You make really, really dumb decisions. And I don't know who is in charge of controlling the ambulance and so, but man, what you did was dumb. Whether that's on the track or whether that's on NASCAR, I don't know. But someone screwed up, someone needs to get smacked in the face, and either needs to get demoted or fired. Because that was dumb. That was so dumb. And that was dumb. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up here. Whole 53-minute video. So that's my opinions on all of the things NASCAR that I can at least remember off the top of my head, and some of the things that have happened thus far in the last day or so with news and announcements. So I may do this again in the future. I don't know, but I did enjoy this. I hope you guys, if you guys listen to my opinion, by all means, go ahead and give your opinion down below. Is there something I'm wrong about? Is there something that I may be mistaken in? Do you have your own opinions? By all means, if you want to, leave a comment down below, or if you even have your own video, I would be more than willing to check it out. So that's going to be it for this episode, and we'll go on from there. So expect some more race videos in the future, some more league racing as well coming up soon, and that's going to be it. So good night, everyone, and I will see you later.